All right, guys, we're on to the fifth and final round of the tournament coverage. Shasvastii up against Haqqislam once more, and the final table is actually a really cool Haqqislam themed, area, which I think is really awesome and very appropriate for this final game. As you can see here, you've got the desert style sort of buildings, so that's going to be really amazing. One thing I have to say about this game is that halfway through the game, my camera on my phone wasn't the camera's problem, actually. It was just the phone charger's problem, and my phone basically died. So my good buddy opponent here let me use his camera for that, but then of course, he had to send me the photographs after the event. And when I copied them onto my computer, they weren't actually in the right order. So I've had to reorder them the best I can, but the photos for the second half of this bat rep won't be very chronological, shall we say. Now, my opponent for this game is the same opponent that you see in like most of my bat reps and have seen for the last like 2 or 3 years. He's the guy who plays Pan-Oceania and more often now Haqqislam. You've seen him in many, many bat reps against me before. He's a good player, and we're both, 3 wins and 1 loss after 4 rounds, so it's appropriate that we play each other at the final event. It is Hunting Party, and my opponent has chosen to go with tableside and deploy second, so I've opted to go with a first turn. I thought that would be a good idea just because I was worried that, he usually runs a lot of Daylami and Aljabel and stuff like that, so I figured I'd just go with the initial attack with my Speculo and Shishkin and whatnot. So don't really have a good overview photo. Maybe this is a good overview photo here. We'll just jump into it. So actually, if I jump out to the actual photos of the tables, let's just use this generic photo of the table without any models on it. Just to sort of show you guys what's up. So we're going to grab some kind of color. Let's grab a nice green. So Shasvastii are going to be deployed over here, and Haqqislam are going to be deployed over here. And there are going to be 2 objectives out in the middle, and if nobody's actually captured any, hunted any down, any specialists or lieutenants, it's going to be about these big objectives in the middle and capturing them, plus the classifieds, of course. So I'll be deployed along here. But the point is there's going to be a Noctifer missile launcher there and a Noctifer missile launcher there, because at that height, they can sort of see right across the table here, anything that's not on the ground level. So anybody who's up here and up here are going to be hit by the missiles, if you guys can follow that. Okay, so that should make enough sense. As you can see here, this is the guy on the right-hand side. You can see one of the Noctifers is deployed ground level, because I'm planning on actually moving him out and using his assault pistol. The other Noctifer on the left-hand side. My troops, you can sort of see what's what here. We've got the 2 Ikachons, the Doctor, the Asswing Lieutenant. Actually, no. This is the Shrouded, actually, in my deployment zone. Bit and Kiss, Bits inside the building, Kiss is behind it. Shishkin's right out in the open. She's planning on moving into cover as part of the first turn. There's Bit there and Kiss next to it. This is the Asswing Lieutenant there. And one of the Noctifers, again, deployed 12 inches out. I'm planning on moving him across the table, using his assault pistol, or firing down along my opponent's deployment zone with the missile launcher, which is going to be quite funny. And Noctifer there. You can sort of see from this layout that this is where the missile launcher is going to be on top of that building. My opponent deploying Al-Hawa, Hunzakut, HVT. There's a Doctor on the building here. I'll just get out the pen. So Engineer at the back here. This is the Ghazi. He's got a Lasik sniper right here. Doctor on the building. He's got another regular sniper way out around the side. So that's going to be quite painful for Shishkin since he's looking at it. Further back, a little bit deeper into the deployment zone. Where did my color go? Green. We've got the mighty Maghariba Guard way back in his deployment zone. This wall conveniently at the right height to defend it. He's got a TR bot to help it as well. Engineer nearby, Barid over here. Gazi Motiwa. Now his lieutenant is inside this building. There's another one on top. Or actually, it might be inside this building. So he's well protected by jammers. It's going to be very hard to hunt his lieutenant down. But in my initial first turns, it's just going to be a matter of trying to wipe out the Ghazis and actually get some damage done before I go on for the kill later on in terms of scoring. So pretty well defended deployment zone here, as you can see. But if you look very carefully at the top left of this photo, you might also notice this is my Noctifer, and I'm planning on actually moving down here and getting some shots along this direction. So we'll see if we can achieve that. Okay, my reserve model is over here. So reserve model is down here. That is a specular killer. And his line of sight for the sniper is like this. So I'm going to be able to move the specular. Oh, what the hell is that? Specular is going to move behind him and then take out the sniper. And that's going to now allow Shishkin to move into cover there. If I don't do that, Shishkin is actually being spotted out by the sniper here. And one decent shock hit is going to remove her. So I don't really want that. Speculo moving out. This guy can't really do anything, so basically boarding shotgun straight into the back, and he dies. Elsewhere, the Noctifer moving forward and is getting discovered by a Ghazi Matiwa as he does so. So this is my deployments, my opponent's deployment zone that way, and this is where I'm coming from. So just avoiding this guy basically, and then moving around here to try and get line of sight onto our friendly friends. As he does so, my opponent makes a very smart move here and decides to throw a smoke grenade because there's a Ghazi Matiwa over on this side. Throws the smoke grenade over here. This does allow me to actually shoot the assault pistol and kill the Ghazi, but it now blocks off the angle that I was going to use to fire a missile over here and potentially blow up this guy and maybe even the tag. So quite a smart play. It's going to mean I have to spend more or less sort of slicing around the side. So what I decided to do instead is actually climb up, because I was ground level here. I've climbed up the opposite wall of the building from the photo, and now the smoke line is around about here. All I've got to do is move along to this side of the building, and I can get line to them. Or I can just leave myself there and be an ARO piece. But I'll be doing both. This also gives me cover for the Noctifer, which is really going to be helpful for beating the tank in the face-to-face role. So after one single round of shooting, the Noctifer does hit the tank, strips a structure point off it, and then just stays there. So if he's going to move out with his missile launcher or his, not his missile launcher, his tag or his TR bot or anything like that, the Noctifer's just going to be shooting missiles at him. So it's going to make it quite dangerous to take any face-to-face rolls. Elsewhere in his turn, he's got a Ghazi going up impetuous. I'm just revealing my other Noctifer here. He doesn't have a Jambasan. The quicker these Noctifers get revealed, the better. The quicker I kill the Ghazis, the better. So I'm not going to wait around. No point lingering. Just straight missile to the face. But it doesn't even kill the Ghazi, which is frustrating. 15 against 15. Elsewhere, he's moving the Ghazis on the other side of the table, so the Noctifer is able to shoot through the line along here. And in the distance, there's going to be a Ghazi which gets clipped. But again, smoke is success, but the missile is going to clip this Barid and actually blows up the Barid. So lucky enough to kill the Barid, but unlucky to not get the Ghazi as well. And furthermore, on this side of the table here, the tank decides desperately to activate, pick up some shock ammunition, fire all bullets over here. So he's hitting on 8s against a single dice on a 15. And luckily for my opponent, he doesn't lose the face-to-face roll and does kill the Noctifer. But as you can appreciate, this is really risky. Like, I've put him in a really rough spot here. If he starts failing face-to-face checks, the tank dies. And if the engineer goes over to revive the tank, well, there's still a Noctifer missile launcher right there. So, yeah, you can see the trouble he's in. Ghazi Matiwa also throwing down smoke grenades just to help, potentially evacuate some of his troops from line of sight. Okay, so the tank has won the fight. The other reason why he's put the smoke template here is just so that he can move the tank out into the midfield without coming into line of sight of any of the other Noctifers, because there's 3 of them in total. He's only removed 1 of them. So that's what he's trying to do at this point, and trying to evade Noctifer missiles. Shishkin has been moved into the center of the table here, just picking up a little bit of room. She always has cover because of the nanoscreen, but she's standing next to the staircase just because if she really needs to, she can drop prone and just come in behind there to block off against people shooting along this way if she really wanted to. Anyway, the Al-Hawa moving through and does manage to evade her thanks to Marcus State. Al-Hawa goes in and presses the button on the console. That will be handy for later. It's going to be very difficult for me to take that back just because of the jammers in the vicinity. And then he decides to move around and actually has a go at the Noctifer with his boarding shotgun. But it's quite hard. I mean, boarding shotgun cancels the TO camo modifier, but I've still got cover. I'm shooting back with an assault pistol, and he just doesn't manage to get the hits through that he needs. Elsewhere, the Lasik just changing position a little bit so he can see a bit more of the table. Previously, he was sort of a little bit further back into the room. So now he's going to be actually scoped out, picking up some more wider angles, and this is going to be difficult for Shishkin to move past. The tank setting up shop right over here, deciding not to take too many shootouts with the Noctiviz, and also just staying behind this total cover here, thankfully provided by the height of the wall. And this is going to put him in a position to move in on me later in the game, we're thinking. There's still a Hunzacut here as well, so we'll see how that progresses. In the meantime, just a lot of smoke being thrown down. Okay, well, this is the fateful point in the game where I have to switch to the other photographs that I took. Because this is not really going to be in chronological order, I just want to sort of say that there are sort of two storylines here. There are two story arcs, plot lines, shall we say, about what happens next in the game. So for my turn 2, Shishkin makes a run for it and goes right through the table, having to take on a Hunzacut, the Lasik sniper, the Maghariba guard, which is the tough one, and we'll see how that turns out. Elsewhere, the Hunzacut, the Al-Hawa is having a bit of a shootout with the Noctifer, not really winning it very easily, and later on Bit and Kiss have to take him on with their hacking ability to obviously take him down to unconscious so that we can hunt him down. And then later into the game, Bit and Kiss will also be moving over to some objectives. So I'll just comment on each individual photo, but that is generally the thrust of the story that we're telling here. So we're seeing some Ghazis moving a bit closer to my side of the table, just covering this objective with a jammer. The tank's still alive up in the corner there. Shishkin moving out, coming into line of sight of the Lasik, but thanks to her nano screen, she's able to retain cover while just racing across the battlefield. Shishkin up against Mimetism, hitting on 12s with 4 dice with a Red Fury. The Lasik hitting on a 12, I think, or 11 with 1 dice. Shishkin getting the better of him, thankfully. If she hadn't have won the face-to-face roll, that could have been the game over, but very likely to win with 4 dice versus 1, and the Lasik is shredded. Note that she is planning on getting to this door here. There's going to be a shootout against the tag along that alleyway. She's going to also have to take on the TR bot who's over here, and there's a Hunzacut in this room here, which she's going to have a bit of a shootout against. So she's got a lot of work to do. The tag, after Shishkin makes it over to the door, she has destroyed the TR bot successfully, but the tag, after losing a face-to-face roll with Shishkin shooting through here, is trying to get into total cover, but you're only allowed to improve your cover and fail your guts check and go somewhere if you can improve the cover. So if your 2 inches of movement won't get you from partial cover to total cover, you can't use it. Just what the rules say, unfortunately. Now, Shishkin is hitting on 18s here with her shots. The tag is shooting back, hitting on like an 11 with 1 dice. But it's only damage 13, so I've got to strip through the armor, which as soon as I fail the face-to-face roll, I'm in a lot of trouble. Elsewhere, there was a Hunzacut. This had previously sort of moved around here. There's a Noctifer for sort of further up in that building area, but going back into camo state for this. So this was a bit of an earlier photo, not in chronological order, where Shishkin has sort of fired off and destroyed this bot. Successfully. Now, again, that could have been disastrous. If Shishkin loses the face-to-face roll or he gets a crit, it becomes harder, but no assisted fire, so Shishkin can take a wound and then continue. At the moment, she's got her wound plus NWI intact, so this is where she's sort of crawling into the house here. So with the tag destroyed and with the TR bot destroyed, Shishkin moves around, whips out a stun pistol, and successfully takes this guy down with immobilization. I think she previously got him in close combat or hit him with a regular pistol just to make him unconscious. But this takes me ahead in the lead for the game because I get the extra points for hunting down a specialist. So my opponent, because the tag is destroyed, uses the manned rule to actually get the pilot out. Now, this is different from the little bots that come out of the pano tags and stuff like that. This is actually the manned rule, which, you get the pilot out even after it's been destroyed. So she is actually having a go at Shishkin with a light shotgun, which is extremely dangerous because this is another specialist which can be hunted down against Shishkin, who has no impact on the scoring of the game. So Shishkin fires back with her stun pistol, and very luckily for my opponent, he does win the face-to-face roll with a shotgun, but that could have ended in, making the game even harder for him to win. So Shishkin finally goes down against a little close-range shotgun, but a very brave paramedic tag pilot there You can sort of see an earlier photo of the tag, sort of the pilot coming out around that side, reconsidering it, and he just replays it and just brings him out the other side. Earlier in the turn, this was the position of the Hunsakut, not actually in that house. He was basically here behind the wall, getting a line of sight out here, but I just moved the model around so we could get a photo of it. This was the earlier point where Shishkin was moving through to take on his engineer and successfully cripples him and hunts him down, so not chronological. Again, non-chronological order, but Shishkin shooting at the tag from this angle. She doesn't really need the total cover because she's got the little nanoscreen guy here, but 18 instead of 4 dice against 11 on 1 dice. It's a fairly safe shootout, and it didn't take too many orders before the tag had been hit by crits and just failing armor saves by rolling like 1s and 2s and 3s. So that went pretty well. The Noctifer finally made unconscious by the Al-Hawa, who moves around. But after Shishkin moves through, man, I told you guys these are in no particular order. So Shishkin's around here. I think we've seen this already. What he does decide to do later in the game is he uses his paramedic, who's the tag pilot, after victoriously removing Shishkin, decides to shoot at him with a med kit. And the point of this is that if he does have enough orders at the end, he might be able to pass a whip check to reset, because it's only mobilization state 1. So he has to revive the engineer first, then spend an order from the pool to reset, and that will take him out of hunted down state. But unfortunately, the medikit misses a couple of shots, and the one that it finally hits actually fails the phys check here on the engineer, and he dies. So the danger of medkits, guys. Elsewhere, I've managed to use Bit and Kiss to hit him with a Maestro, the Hunsakut here, not the Hunsakut, the Al-Hawa. So Dr. Worm just pulling around the corner, whipping out the stun pistol, and blapping off a couple of shots at the unconscious Al-Hawa. The the camouflage, I believe, turns off when you're unconscious, so successfully picking off another hunted down specialist there. So he's immobilized. Bit and Kiss now moving around after, what they originally did was, Bit had moved over to provide the repeater. Kiss is moving, so it's the other way. Bit is moving around here. Kiss is providing the repeater. That's enough to knock out the Al-Hawa. Then we can start moving out along this side of the table up to the top right. So what that does is allows us to actually get Bit and Kiss into contact with the objective and capture it. He does have one last Hunsakut here, but he can't really get in range to destroy a Bit, and if he does stand up, he's going to get hit by the other Noctifer, and that will result in points being lost for Haqqislam. So we end the game with Haqqislam having picked up one objective, hunted down no specialists. I've hunted down a couple of specialists, so I've got more of them, and I've managed to take out one of these objectives, and I've picked up a classified. He picked up a classified as well. The Specular, you can see it hanging out here just to provide a bit of line of sight against potential objective grabs over from the corner of the game. You can see all the wreckage and the carnage over there as well. But we end the game with a Shasvastii victory. And I was really happy with how this game went. The Noctifer was a little bit unlucky at the beginning. Shishkin was, reasonably lucky that she didn't, have any bad run-ins with anything that managed to kill her. The Lasik or the tag certainly could have got her, but odds were very, very favorable with her face-to-face rolls there. I was a little bit risky with her at the start. If he'd moved to Ghazi forward and somehow managed to jam her, that could have been really problematic. We saw what happened in the second game. That almost went down the drain. Anyway, with 4 wins and 1 loss, and with our friend Garth managing to beat our friend Nicola, you saw those 2 armies, the JSA army that I played the previous round and the Ariadna army that I played 2 rounds prior to this. They had to face off against each other. In that game, an Oni Waban sneaked in with superior deployment infiltration and managed to get the hunted down lieutenant from the Ariadna side, and that was enough to seal the victory for JSA and the tournament for JSA. So my buddy Garth coming first in this event with JSA, I picked up 2nd place with Shasvastii. Faction I've never played before. They are quite strong. Used to element of surprise here quite heavily, but had a great tournament. We're going to have another one coming up, I think, in June or July. That's going to be in Auckland, so I'll be practicing for it. I'll be preparing my lists. Hopefully, you guys, you follow that. And other than that, thanks for watching the series. Hope you guys enjoyed it. 5 games with Shasvastii. I'm going to be returning to my normal programming very shortly. I'll also do a little bit of a review on the new closed battle list for Yuqing, or I Imperial Service, we shall say, followed by some more bat reps, and of course, more review videos. So I know you guys love that. See you guys again soon.